love old technology and all that, but sometimes it is a tremendous pain in the ass to get it to do what you want it to do. What is up, YouTube? I'm your friendly neighborhood Nman64, bringing you another playthrough of another game for Throwback Thursdays, of course. Not just any particular thing, we're doing Throwback Thursdays. And I figured, since this is the year of Pokemon, I might as well get another Pokemon LP done out of the way this year, and why the hell not? Let's make a Pokemon Emerald. Well, it was either this or I do Leaf Green and with another stupid gimmick, but I figured we may as well go to the Hoenn Region and take part in a stupid gimmick that way. And at least Pokemon Emerald is a more complete game than Fire Red and Leaf Green were, so whatever. We are doing Pokemon Emerald here for Throwback Thursday, again with a stupid gimmick. As usual, my internal battery is one dry, and I'm not good with a soldering iron, so we will not be able to do any special time-based events. Now, that is the team I have in Emerald when I was trying to do a Gen 3 run, complete Living Dex run, but yeah, that ain't happening anytime soon. So instead, we're going to do a new game. And the type of gimmick we will be doing is a little different. The original plan was to do another Nuzlocke, but I'm not really too keen on doing a Nuzlocke again. Not that I didn't have a good time with the one I had for Fire Red and Leaf Green, but I feel like if I do the exact same gimmicks constantly, it gets kind of boring after a while, so I've opted instead to do an entirely different gimmick. Prior to the fight with Roxanne, you have available to you prior to the fight with Roxanne, you have 11 potential Pokemon types that you can have prior to the battle with her. Now, one of those is Psychic, which is obviously when you can catch Ralts in the early portions of the game. However, because of the way Ralts' moveset comes out in this game, we can't really do anything with that. Because you have to fight there's a mandatory fight with a Team Aqua Grunt that has a Poochyena that we can't do a thing to hurt. So, I've eliminated the Psychic type from this run. But instead, what I have chosen is each of the numbers on our trainer card, or our trainer ID, will be the determining randomized type that we will be using. So, let's go inside. Once we've set everything up in our room, we should be good to go, unless I can do it here. The movers Pokemon do all the work of moving us in and cleaning up after. This is so convenient. Mikey, your room is upstairs. I'm gonna go do it. Okay, don't worry, don't worry. I do want to say hi to my friend Vigoroth here, though. He's having a hard time with this TV. I don't blame him. Okay, so the last number, as it indicated our starter, will indicate what type we are using in this run. 8! That's flying. Okay, I guess we're using flying type Pokemon in this game. Okay, so in order to do that, what we have to do is go through the motions early on, pick our starter Pokemon, and then once we can catch a Pokemon, we go and catch said Pokemon, and that becomes the Pokemon we build our run around. Withdraw that free potion. Unfortunately, it means we have to fight our rival with, you know, we have to fight our rival with the starter Pokemon instead of the one we're supposed to have, but, what have you. Yes, this will be a flying type only run, meaning I can only use Pokemon that have flying type capabilities, which is both a blessing and a curse in this game, but we'll just have to see what I mean by that as we progress. Followed through with all the beginnings, blah, blah, blah. My dad was on the news, but he doesn't like us. Either that or he's got an issue with my mom. Either way, it reminds me way too much of my childhood, so instead I'm gonna go introduce myself to the neighbors and just hopefully get away from them. Okay, hi lady. Hi lady, I'm your next door neighbor. Alright, let's go say hi to May. Let's go say hi to May. Ooh, a Pokeball. I think I'll keep it. Huh? Who are you? Oh, you're Mikey, so your move was today. I'm May. I'm glad to meet you. I have this dream of becoming friends with Pokemon all over the world. I heard about you, Mikey, from my dad. I was hoping that you would be nice, Mikey, and that we could be friends. Oh, this is silly, isn't it? I've just met you, Mikey. Oh no, I forgot. I was supposed to help Dad catch some wild Pokemon. Mikey, I'll catch you later. Proceeds to not help her father with anything. Whatever. Alright. For argument's sake, since we are using a flying-type Pokemon, we are going to use the only Pokemon here that can learn a flying-type move, at least for the early portions of the game. And he's getting chased by a Poochyena. Not Poochyena, Zigzagoon. You're a very silly goose there, Professor Birch. Okay, fine, whatever. Since it's the only one that can learn a flying-type move naturally, we will start with Torchic. But, since it is a flying-type only run, we will only be using Torchic until we can catch our first flying-type. Aww, Torchic's a girl. It's a shame, because starting Pokemon being girls is, like, very rare. So you're like, oh, this is perfect, but no, we can't use it. Now, the idea is specifically Pokemon that become flying types, or have flying types when you catch them. So, unfortunately, for Torchic, Torchic is basically going to be Pokedex fodder. At least until I can get the Pokemon I'm looking for. Yes, you'll let me keep this Torchic, thank you. I don't plan on using it. No, he does not deserve a nickname, because he's not going to be on my team for very long. Sure, why not? I'll go see May. I don't care. The focus of this, though, is, as I've mentioned, flying types. Now, flying types are both good and really bad in this region. They're good because a lot of them have unique type variations that will make building a potential roster very easy. Conversely, there's also drawbacks, being a lot of types we're going to be up against that flying is weak to or doesn't do particularly good against. Namely, the first gym, Roxanne's gym. Then we have the electric gym. Then we have a bunch of rock types in the psychic gym for Solrock and Lunatone. Then to add insult to injury, we also have to deal with ice types in the Elite Four, so yeah, this is going to be all about building diverse, unique teams for us to deal with. But we can do this without too much of an issue. So, give me my free potion. I always like freebies. Yeah, I came very close to doing a Fruglock for this game, but this game it's particularly hard to do a Fruglock. In essence, if you don't pick the right Pokemon, you're screwed. Like, you have to pick one of the Pokemon, one particular Pokemon. And it's a shame, even though I do like the Pokemon you get to pick, you know, you get the idea. The reason I chose Torchic, not only because it can potentially learn Peck, so it technically can count as a flying type, is also because of the three, it's the only one of the rivals' Pokemon, potential Pokemon, Mudkip at least, that resists flying types. Or is not super effectively hit by flying types. So, yeah, if I had chosen Torchic, she would have went... If I had chosen Mudkip, she would have went Trico, which is super effective. If I had chosen Trico, she would have went Torchic. And naturally, Torchic, once it fully evolves, and Trico in general is super effectively hit by by flying type moves, so make it a little bit harder on myself. I'm not keeping a particularly close eye on the Pokemon here, mainly until we get the Pokemon that I'm looking for. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, prior to fighting Roxanne, we have the potential to get 4 flying types. I think we're only going to need 2 of them. I might get the 3rd, and And the fourth one's a little really tricky to get, so I don't think we're going to be doing that one. Unfortunately, Torchic's a little beat up right now, so we'll give him a potion to stay alive. Kind of important. We can't possibly lose the first battle to May. That would just be wrong. Alright. So yeah, I know I'm sort of skipping through the early portions of the game, but honestly, since this is a particular type run, I'm pretty sure you're fine with that. The main issue that I have with this is going to be that electric gym, because there are no flying types, at least in the before the post game, that are not at least neutrally affected by electric type moves. So I could hypothetically cheat and trade in a Pokemon from Coliseum, since I was working on that LP at the same time. But I'm deciding against that mainly because, well, as you can tell, I'm not really that worried about winning the game through those types of methods, and B, like I said, I'm doing this just for fun, so get some money. Then we gotta go get our Pokeballs. Am I gonna catch every flying type Pokemon? I'm not sure. I do have a basic idea of the Pokemon I am gonna be using in this run, and no, I'm not using Salamence just because. If anything, I'm gonna be using flying Pokemon just because I have access to them. I might catch one to raise it up to be Salamence, but in general, I'm thinking of a more or less an alternative type of team for this run. But I'm not too concerned about that. Alright, so take care of that. Let May go off on her own. More importantly, we gotta get the Pokeballs. Once we can get that, we should be able to start catching the flying type Pokemon that we need. It could be a bit of an issue for us, at least the first flying type I have to get, because it's weak to, Torchic is weak to it, but whatever. Alright, here we go, we got a Pokedex, which, like I said, we're not really going to be worrying too much about in this run. Alright, so give me some Pokeballs. Thank you, May, you adorable little scamp. Alright. So first up on our catch list is Wingull. If I can catch Wingull, we should be good to go. I don't think any of the flying types we'll get early on are going to be on the team long term, but the closest to it would probably be Wingull, namely because of how it's a water flying type. And once it evolves into Pelipper, it becomes really physically tanky and can learn water type moves, so yeah, my first goal is to catch a Wingull. And I don't think I can end the episode until we catch one. Oh, son of a gun. Okay. Wingull, you are my first Pokemon, as long as Torchic doesn't murder you. And you're going to be the only Pokemon I can use, and you murdered it, Torchic. Way to go. I get it, girl. You're jealous, but this isn't a run where I'm using you right now. All right, let's start looking for a looking for a Wingull again. That is Hyena. That is Hyena. You know what would be funny if I misread the list and it was fighting the entire time? Because then I'm set. All I need to do is raise it up to be Combuskin, Torchic up to be Combuskin, and then we're good to go. But I don't think that's the case. Checking the list again, yes, it is flying type, so... yeah, no, we are good. At least until I catch Poochyena. Wingull. So yeah, I am not concerned about... I just really need Wingull. I'll even take it being at a lousy level if it means I could just start leveling it up. That is Hyena. Doesn't really help. Come on, just give me what I'm here for. Just give me what I'm here for. That is Hyena. Not here for that. number was dark, curiously? Oh, number 9, okay. So wow, if I'd gotten a 9, I'd be using Poochyena right now. Would it even be doable? I mean, it kind of has to be doable, right? Because Bite is a special type move, and you can use that to probably beat Roxanne. Really? You're just not going to give me any more Wingulls? Alright, come on. Just give me my Wingull so I can call it a day. There we are. Alright, level 3. As long as we don't crit, we should be okay. There we go. Alright, so it automatically knows Water Gun, which is mildly problematic for Torchic, at least at the moment. But it won't be problematic once I have access to this. And boom, a caught Wingull. Nice. And now the run officially begins. It makes its nest on a sheer cliff at the edge of the sea. It has trouble keeping its wings flapping in flight. Instead, it soars on updrafts. Alright, captured Wingull. And because I like making fun of my Pokemon for their butts, we're going to call this one Scuttlebutt if possible. Yeah, we have to remove the E, but that's okay. So we're going to call you Scuttlebutt. Alright. With that in mind, we can now go heal our Pokemon. And more or less cruise through the rest of the run-up here. I am going to level up Wingull a bit, because it probably needs some levels, being lower than some of the trainers we're going to be going up against. So I'm going to get it up to level 5, and then we're going to progress from there. So thank you guys for joining me. I'm your friendly neighborhood Endman64. Join me next time when we take on the trainers between here and Petalburg City, and then begin looking for our next Pokemon. Until we meet again, my lovelies, sayonara.